Arsenal.
What about us?
What do they need to do differently?
We're going to have to go again. Obviously, we've improved on last season. Very proud of what they've done because it's tough. And I think that City has shown the levels. You can't expect Arsenal to not drop points. What you ideally want is for more people to be involved and give City more of a fight. You know what I mean?
But City nearly dropped already. I'd look at the Spurs game. Obviously, a couple of big moments. I still don't look at City like I've done previously as if they're like proper invincible.
No.
I think Forest should have got something about 3 weeks ago. Remember, Wood had a couple of chances. So there was moments where you're thinking, they did. Listen, they'd done it and won the last 8 or 9 games. Amazing.
But the thing with it is that's what can happen. That people are missing chances, and then when they get the opportunity, City are not. After the Real Madrid game, I knew that it was over. Once they got out of that, I said, this is over. Yeah. Arsenal are going to really have to do some amazing stuff just to keep them off.
The Son was a big moment.
Oh, you know something?
Everyone watching that will know.
I'll never forget that.
But Justin, right? So he thinks Son missed it. I think Ortega saved it. And I'm usually really sort of like, you know.
But we go back to, just want to make the point.
I think it was both. It was both.
You know,
I just want to make the point about the goalkeeper. We're talking about City starting 11. To change the goalkeeper, a goalkeeper to come on, and he didn't just make that save, he made a couple of 2 earlier saves. You're going, I'll go back to it, the squad, your players being ready to come on. You know, this Arsenal have had a really good team, and I think they have a really good squad. But they were on the back of a European game when they slipped up at home to Villa. You know the games where you can't get going sometimes. That's where City kind of... They win them.
Yeah.
Whereas Arsenal slipped out once. But the beauty, the standards are set, and you know when they lost to Villa, you're going, one slip up, that's it.
You can't do that. You know the thing.
And when they drew with Arsenal, when they drew with Arsenal, when Arsenal went to City and they drew, and everyone was kind of praising Arsenal. And I know City won at their very best that day, but they still had maybe 70% possession, and they were by far the better team. Arsenal were rock solid. And Arsenal were kind of, I listened to the manager, I've never seen him so happy after a game, after a draw, because they knew going to City is a great result, but you're like going, do you think City are just not going to react to this? As if people wrote City off because they drew home to Arsenal. Do you remember the game?
Right, I think that, honestly, because I thought that around the Champions League games, they might lose a game. And that I thought they did have to beat City.
So did I.
A bit.
I genuinely
because
thought,
I said this at the
time, just to shift the mountain that is Manchester City, you have to beat them, you have to do something.
But I thought Arsenal after the game were cocky, not cocky, but I've never seen the manager so happy be going.
Were cocky, Roy.
No, sorry, that's the wrong word. Not cocky, but really, but you're going at some stage.
Happy with themselves.
Yeah,
they were happy.
But if you're
that's progress for us.
No, I know it is, but progress when you're talking about challenges, something you have to eventually make a statement against them.
Right, we're being harsh here. We are being harsh.
Of course, we're being harsh.
You know something? When Arsenal won the league and took the league off us, Overmars came to Old Trafford and scored, and Viltord came to Old Trafford and scored, and you robbed us in our own backyard and you killed us. Honestly, you've got to do that.
I don't think you do. You don't.
No, I do think you do.
When you look at what's
City's
record against the top?
The criticism of Arsenal in that game. Now,
against City, you're talking about.
Yeah. Now, I understand it. Let's go back 12 months. They went to Man City, probably level or just ahead of City in the title. Right. They went there and went for it. Pressed all over the pitch. Man to man up, got absolutely destroyed. So that's in Arteta's head, number one. When you talk about you've got to beat them, Arsenal have taken 4 points from Man City this season. And when they came out, they came out at the Man City ground. They came out, so whatever they went in as, they were, I think, a point or 2 points ahead, they came out with it. So I get it, you say, well, if they'd have won that, well, obviously if they'd have won that. But if you go to Manchester City and don't lose and you've taken 4 points out of 6, what happened the season before? The Villa games kill them.
No, but
if they beat Villa, they win the league.
But, Cara, I think the Villa game around Champions League games and all those games they had was always likely to happen. They had some tough games.
Why was it likely to happen?
I just thought we just think it was. The reason, the City game, I agree with you, they played really well in that match. They progressed massively this season, and we're talking about fine lines and the little bit of difference that might make. The question was, what do they need to do differently? And if they're in that same position again next year, they still defend with the same compactness and strength that they did, but you punch a bit more, and you're going to get the counter-attack.
Yeah, but listen, they might win there, but they might lose at home. There's things Arsenal have done this season that I do think will be difficult to replicate next season. And there's 2 things that stand out for me. They're by far the best team in the head-to-heads with the top teams. Yeah. So they've beat United twice. They took 4 points off City, 4 points off Liverpool, 4 points off Chelsea. I think they got 4 points off Spurs, so they've beaten everyone in that head-to-head. That's difficult to do that.
You think
Again, I'm not, listen, that's just difficult to do because the fine margin that you play the top team, that's difficult to do next season. And also next season, it'd be difficult to have the injury record they've had this season. It's like, that's not just luck, that's probably maybe the way they train, the sports science team, the way, whatever it may be. But basically, every time you put an Arsenal game on, there's 9 out the first 11 playing, maybe 10. It just feels like, I think that'll be difficult again next season.
When you look at City,
to do that.
When you look at City against the top, the people around them, they haven't been great against them. They've won. They've beaten who they need to beat. The thing with City, you know, this is what I'm saying. Like I was thinking that Arsenal, you're going to have to beat Liverpool, and you're going to have to beat City, and we've done it. Kind of beat everybody else as well. Yeah. Still come up short.
What should Son have done differently?
You know, the thing is, it was honestly.
I mean, he knows how to finish those goals.
This is what I'm saying, James.
Right, you know, on that one, I can picture Son so many times. I saw something on social media where they were showing Son go through like that, scoring basically how many times. You're a finisher. It always feels like when you're on the right foot there, is it more difficult to go there? Because I always think Son always goes there.
Yeah,
that side of
he tries to go boom. But you know, the thing is, with that kind of, when you're going through on goal like that, and it's him, what you find with the top guys that are in total control of it, to the point where you say the goalkeeper, or you say both of them. No, the goalkeeper's rooted because the goalkeeper is waiting for you to make the bad touch so as he can come and make the goal even smaller. Now, what I saw with that, why I was so confident when Son went through, if you look at the goalie, he's rooted now, because when Son has his shot, he's stopped, he's dead, he's like bam. So Son could have easily lifted it. You've got to lift it over that leg, because the goalkeeper, because he's not had no bad touches until he's got to that point, but his bad touch was his standing foot to where he kicked the ball, and when you look at it again, there's no power in it, and it's along the ground. That finish, because the goalkeeper at some stage is going to have to go down, Gal, you have to at some stage lift it over something.
I just thought the way he spread his right leg like that, full stretch,
yeah, but then,
like
Gal,
a split.
there's so much goal behind him.
So why was his last touch so bad?
I think
Is that the pressure?
I think that maybe the pressure of the guy behind him, because if you look at it, his legs, standing legs here, he's probably shot from there. He's probably shot from like half a yard away from it. And like with that, you've either got to lean back or you've got to do something. You've got to do something to try and get it on. And he didn't do it.
The goalkeeper said to me years ago, goalkeeper coach, so that when the striker's got that much time, almost time's the enemy, isn't it, for a striker?
Yes.
And I know he's got unbelievable quality, and we've seen him do it so many times. But so in a sense, he had too much time.
Well, I think
no.
Dave Seaman used to say is that that's what as a goalkeeper, that's what you want. You want them to be continually moving. You don't want to do too much, so as you give them that doubt. And this is where is he moving?
Yeah.
But you've got to go through.
That's the time. So
Exactly.
what he's going through his head.
That's what he's going through.
And it's split seconds, isn't it?
And the thing is, because Son, like, if Harry Kane goes through he's scoring. Because he's been through that situation so many times. He knows the touches have to be right. He knows that the goalkeeper is going to have to some stage plant, and that is when you do the finish, whether it's plant through the legs, whipped over the leg, gone through the arm. You have to get it past him because there's so much goal behind him.
But isn't that the bigger disappointment? Because you're saying if Harry Kane's there, I always think Son's there all the time, and he always feels like I think Son's as good a finish as anybody.
This is why it was so surprising. It's so surprising because he's very accomplished in that moment. It's like,
Would City have scored after that with like 5-10 minutes to go anyway? You know what I mean?
Well, this is what people are saying. They would have, but it's a different.
What minute was it?
It was 85, wasn't it?
85 minutes.
85, wasn't it?
We talk about the squad. When Arsenal came back on the back of that European game, they had Villa. Maybe that's where it just catches up with you, and you're pushing players. And the European games can take a lot out of you, because they lost the Villa game on the back of the European game, wasn't it?
Yes.
I know Villa had a European game as well. And you know, it's like you come back after it drains you. Yeah. And that's where you need. It's great having a settled team, but sometimes you go, we need to make them few changes. You've seen Pep do it, even bring Lewis and Bob into certain games.
He doesn't make them, does he, Arteta?
No,
he hasn't got the players.
So you have that game where you go, and it's just that one game where you go, lads, it's just a flat day, it happens, but that's where you need them lads to come in and go, they just bring that. The lads we had in 90, I go back to it, everyone praises the starting 11, I go back, it's the lads who I give credit for. The lads have been waiting months and months, and I'm including Teddy and people like that. So when they come in, they go, we do the business, and then they pop back out, you go, thanks lad, you just helped us for this week.
Yeah, you know all season when you see, like, we do it on Monday Night Football, really look into the stats, and Arsenal were top by a long way, and sort of obviously not the points as such, but, you know, like, how they were winning games, how many goals they were scoring defensively, everything was really strong. So you're thinking, well, they are almost like the best, they're playing better than anybody. But you sometimes look at a team on paper and sometimes think, can that win the league? Does that win the league? And I have this thing where I look at Arsenal's team and I see the best team on paper and I think, that can't win the league. And the area to think about, when I see the front three at the end of the season, like the last 10 games, and they were all brilliant. Trossard, how many goals did he get? Havertz was fantastic. Saka's Saka. But I still look at that front three and I think, can Trossard, Havertz and Saka as a front three, is that winning the league? When I look at City and I go, Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, that's like, it's not even the next level. That's like...
We have to remember Haaland and De Bruyne missed a big chunk of the season.
Yeah.
So you're on about the perfect storm for Arsenal. Maybe Arsenal could have got, well, they didn't. But that was the perfect storm to go.
but
And
then
you win the
another
league
thing-
title with City's problems, even with the goalkeeper and the demands of last season and getting yourself back up again.
They're able to fill that gap, though, Roy. You know, we can't lose two of our top guys like that.
No, the simple answer is Arsenal need to go and have a bigger and stronger squad and rotate a bit more.
What players do I mean, centre forward obviously is an obvious one.
Everybody talks about the centre forward, but we've shown that yes, as difficult as it can be, we can deal with the hit of not having the out-and-out centre forward. I think we need to strengthen.
Holding midfield player and a centre forward.
Probably
two big ones.
No, I think we need cover for Saka. We need cover for Saliba, and another midfielder probably, and then
Is Timber, Tomiyasu, Ben White not enough cover for Saliba? I mean, obviously I get he's an important player, but you signed Timber last year.
Ideally, yeah, but you don't want to lose someone like of that calibre. No, I think that...
I'm talking about for 3 or 4 games while he's injured. Like, let's say it's hamstring. He's out for 4 games. You know, you've got Kivior, Timber, White could go in there. You know, there's still a lot... Actually, Arsenal have got quite a lot of defenders.
Yeah, but then you look at what City are capable of doing in respect of bringing players in. You have to have somebody who can come in, who can, at some stage, challenge someone like William Saliba for his position because we need to strengthen the whole squad. Like, look at our bench. We need to strengthen everything.
I think holding midfield and striker.
I always think
we need cover for Saka. We need cover for him.
I think sometimes though, when you've got a good team, and we were like that at Liverpool, where we couldn't quite get there in terms of the league, and you're talking, oh, we need a better squad, or we need this, or we need someone to cover him, or we need someone to cover Torres. You need players to go in your first 11, and then the ones who are in the 11 become the squad players. So Arsenal, rather than saying, oh, we need cover for this one or that one, you need to go and buy a left back. Left back's not good enough, and I actually think left wing's not quite good enough. I like Martinelli, I like Trossard. So people keep saying Arsenal need a striker. There's not many strikers out there in the world in terms of... Everybody in the Premier League besides Man City are not happy with their striker, really. So that tells you that there's not that many out there. So it mightn't just be a striker. It might be just be for me, when I look at Arsenal, they're missing a top attacker to go with Saka, who I think is fantastic. They need another one, whether that's through the middle or on the left.
Like how you had Salah and Mane, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the middle guy. It could be like an unbelievable left winger, you know, who just takes you to another level. But you need a left.
Will they have the money with Arsenal? They have to,
I think.
But they'll have to sell a few, won't they?
I think so, but like I think Arsenal's done well with the Champions League and the money.
But they'll have to sell a few, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, I think you'll have to. When you look at what he's willing to do, like we saw with Ramsdale, you know, we saw him bringing Havertz in, against everybody's wishes in respects of what's he doing. He will do what needs to be done.
But the next bit is the hard bit for him. This is like it's the $1 million question. We go, where? Obviously, we can all sit there. They need a better squad. They need this. That last bit is the fucking hardest.
I know.
That's what clubs wait 20, 30 years.
I think what Arsenal need to do next, it's hard to win the league. It is.
Thank you.
My point is though, if you've got to win. There's other trophies to win. They haven't won anything for like 4 seasons or 5 seasons. This team can't be what Tottenham was, or I remember Newcastle years ago with Keegan and Leeds. They talk about getting to a Champions League final or the entertainers. They didn't win 1 trophy. This Arsenal team are that good. It's hard to beat City.
That's where the squad comes into it, Jamie.
No, what I'm saying is, win an FA Cup, win a Carabao.
Oh no, but when he make changes in the early round, like they went to City last year in the Cup, and I think they lost in Brighton. So when they do play the kind of easier games in the early rounds, and they bring their lads in, that's where the lads go, make sure you get us over the line. Make sure you get us into the 4th and 5th round, and then we can start getting the main lads back in. But that's where they have played cup games. Was it Forest last year? Went to Forest. I just remember
Well, they
these
lost
cup
to West
FA
Ham
Cup
today,
game, yeah,
this
yeah.
season. In
So
the
they've gone to
Carabao
games where you go, yeah, you brought lads in, but what are the lads' mentality is a bit, oh, do I have to play in this game? And that's where the group of players, you've got to have a decent squad of players. You're going, well, lads, when you come into these games, fucking be ready.
Mentally as well,
Yeah.
right? Next season is going to be, they're going to have to go again, and he's going to need to make certain signings to really give the squad
players a lift.
They're going to need it because they've gone very close. 89 points, like you mentioned, beats, got 4 points of City, 4 points of Liverpool. It's demoralising.
I would double down on the defensive structure that they've had this year and the defensive record, and I go holding midfield player to free completely Rice and the others, because I think just keeping the defensive structure that they've got will give them a great chance of winning the league. The goals, I think, will come for Arsenal. They've got good football players. I mean,
They've got the goals. When you actually look at the goals, they've got the goals, haven't they?
So Ødegaard actually is probably the biggest risk in terms of you can't replay. There's no one like him. I mean, he's the one player that I think in the squad that, to me, looks like. I mean, I named him Player of the Year. I thought he was the best player I've seen this season.